Welcome everyone. Call to arms with 64-bit multiplayer, new netcode, new units, new fortification features, new armor system, and much more furthermore. And Call to Arms is on sale this weekend, so watch out for that. Much more to come right now.
Easy go.
What's up guys, my name is Your Heroes and welcome back to more Call to Arms update. Yes, Call to Arms have brought out another new update which is coming very soon. The dates I don't actually know, but as far as I know that there's new armor systems, there's new everything, new fortifications, new netcode, everything to come. So without further ado, let's just get straight into the news. Now, in our last Call to Arms update, which we did, which was a couple weeks ago, and that was on the Germany and the Russia nations coming to Call to Arms, but this time is something a little bit different. This time it's not to do with another nation coming out. This is to do with the game and the new features that are in the game, such as the new armor system, which I will all go over right now. So if you do like this and you do want more of Call to Arms updates, then please do let me know, because all of this does really help me get me to do more news updates on any game. So without further ado, let's just get straight into the update. So welcome to our third developers update for Call to Arms. We will use these updates to keep you posted on the progress of the development and features. We are currently preparing a massive update for Call to Arms, and we are super excited to hand it out to you guys soon. So on our first one is a new armor system. Now I'm going to try and get through this as quickly as possible so we can move on to the next thing. So we're just going to get straight into it. So the new armor system. We've added a new armor system so that we can finally balance vehicle and tanks combat properly. Vehicles will have armor value for each component next to the armor thickness, while a 7.62mm projectile can penetrate a technical. You know the technicals, you know, that the GRM get. So it's going to be different. It may not instantly knock it out or randomly knock it out after some magic threshold have been reached. Instead, each hit will cause some damage to the armor value depending on the basic projectile damage value and penetration power. Okay, so what it's saying is that, you know how currently that when you hit a technical, when it hit a technical, it instantly just blows up. Does it? When you're maybe using an M1 Abrams, you have a 105mm gun. You use HE to blow up that technical, and then it just goes like that, just bam, one click, blows up. This is a little bit different, so depends what gun you use, it'll hit different parts of the vehicle, and depends on the projectile, it'll take longer to kill the technical, which is good because that means it's more realistic. Where were we? Where were it? Okay, I kind of lost it. Or randomly knock it out. Okay, we reached that. Instead, each hit will cause some damage, the armor value, depending on the projectile damage value and penetrating power. If you penetrate a vehicle's armor, the strength of the penetration matters too. For instance, if an armor plate has a thickness of 10mm and your weapon penetrates it will thickness of 10mm and your weapon penetrates it will 11mm. That doesn't make sense. It will cause much less damage than a weapon that penetrates with 50mm. Okay, so if you understand that, go ahead, because I'm still trying to process it through. This allows us to make it easier for autocannons to penetrate vehicles, but don't knock them out instantly or use some magic random factors that would decide whether the vehicles brake or not. It also helps us to simulate vehicles with a lot of mass versus vehicles with little mass, but with similar with armor status. Okay. So this is more to do with vehicles that have autocannon. So you know, when you have a vehicle that has an autocannon against a technical, it might once you hit the technical a few shots, then it's taken out. The engine blows up, and then you hit it a few more times and it blows up. So this time, what it does, that you keep hitting the vehicle, but it'll be easier to take it out, if that makes sense. I'm not actually quite sure what they're getting at here. We'll move on, don't worry. I'll go over it at the end, hopefully. Overall, this system gets rid of all the randomness that happens to vehicle combat, while preventing the realistic armor penetration system that takes armor angle and weapon type into consideration. Okay, so apparently this is meant to be easier for the autocannons, for the vehicles that have autocannons, even though it was already pretty easy for the autocannons to take out technicals, you know. So just now, if you have an autocannon and you're up against a technical, you would hit it a few shots, you would set it on fire, and then you would try to repair it, and then you use the autocannon again, you hit it more, but then it blows up, and then it blows up in a couple seconds after, once you reload the clip again. So where are they getting at this, really? I'm trying to kind of get this through. For instance, if an armor plate has a thickness of 10 millimeters and your weapon penetrates with 11 millimeters, it will cause much less damage than a weapon that penetrates with 50 millimeters. Okay. I'm slightly getting it now. Anyway, we'll move on and come back to it after, don't worry. Furthermore, we can scale it better between the regular gameplay and hardcore. Before only the human damage would change, but now both can be adjusted for much smoother transaction. Okay, so as you can see here, there's a little kind of demonstration here. You can see that the autocannon is actually hitting, and you see that it starts to you can see that oh, okay, I get it. So you see it that autocannon hit once, and then it starts to spark, and then as you notice, as this thing sparks, the health bar starts to go down, and then it blows up. Okay, so that actually makes more sense. Okay, so then we've got the direct control power bar. We notice that a lot of users tend to use third to / first person controls way too much in online games, which can be fun, but puts the focus away from the RTS perspective of the game and makes the gameplay quite messy, as often using direct control wouldn't necessarily lead to a success, but to make it cumbersome, is that a word? I don't know, for the other player to counter it. Okay, so I like where they're going with this. Hence, we decide to limit the usage of direct control in the RTS game mode. You will now have a power bar that fills up very slowly by time, or much faster by skills. This bar allows you to use direct control for a limited amount of time when you really need it, and when it really helps you to change the course of the battle. It also protects you from direct control spam by the other team. This feature can be disabled in server settings, but we generally recommend using it for a better experience. Okay, so I see what they're getting at. So by the way, the little bar is just down here. See where this orange bar is? So I like where they're actually going with this. So they are right, because this game is an RTS game. And I'll put it in my tags when I play Call to Arms. I always put RTS, or if I forget, but usually I put RTS because it is an RTS game. Anyway, moving on. Beside that, this actually, because when I play Call to Arms, when I uploaded my video of Call to Arms, I kept going between first person and third person, and it made it very static. It made it, not very good, and I was kind of felt like all over the place. So by having this is actually good because it now limits you to using first/third person not very often. I mean, because in Men of War Assault Squad 2, you can't go into first person. You can only stick out in third person. So by doing this, Call to Arms is actually giving you a chance to use first/third person, but only when you need it. Only if it changed the course of the battle. When you think you're in trouble, use that bar. Use that special ability, or it won't be a special ability, but use that bar, let's say, when it's absolutely necessary, when you need to actually change the course of the battle. Let's say you're losing, that means it will come into use then. Maybe you need to direct fire onto a tank and the AI can't kill the tank, so that's when you take control and kill the tank that you really needed to take out and then move on. So I like where they're going with this. Okay, moving on to fortifications. Engineers can now oh, sorry about that. Engineers can now English. Come on, English 0 words. Engineers come with now. What is wrong with me? Engineers come now with the ability to build fortifications such as sandbags, tank traps, and so on. Later, we will allow them to create real emplacements like heavy mortars, but these will cost you MP like any other units in the game. Okay, our goal is to make sure the engineers class more interest. Our goal is to make the engineer class more interesting and more worthwhile, while adding more options to strategy. I can't speak today. With the fortifications, I can't speak for crap. And more options and strategies to our players. So what I'm getting at this is that why do they need to add fortification? I mean, actually they couldn't really build, and I'm sure engineers could have built sandbags before, or was it? I'm sure they could have built sandbags. I know they can build like little fortifications. I'm sure, was it? Obviously not, but I know there's like a little, I can't remember what it is, but when you're in multiplayer, when you're single player, and I think there's this little white there's a white kind of diamond, I guess, with a thing inside where you can build like around a supply box, where you can build around like a fortification so you can get men to build around it. But I think this is actually quite a good idea, because there's not a lot the engineers can actually do at the moment. I mean, the only things they can really do at the moment is repair vehicles, and that's really it. So I like what they did with the fortifications, and I know I completely sponged that line there, so I'll read again. Engineers come now with the ability to build fortifications such as sandbags, tank traps, and so on. Later we will allow them to create real emplacements like heavy mortars, but these will cost you MP like any other units in the game. So actually, going back to this, so you can they'll bring in heavy mortar emplacements and real emplacements, but these will cost you the same as like having buying a squad, like maybe a marine squad. So it's going to be expensive, so be aware of that. Our goal is to make the engineer class more interesting and more worthwhile, while adding more options and strategies to our players. There you go, managed to nail it this time. Moving on to the last two things, which is the new netcode and the new landscape and rendering method. So we'll stick to the new netcode. So the new netcode, we have finally finished the new netcode for Call to Arms. Multiplayer is now supported in 64-bit, which means that you can enjoy better graphics, longer and bigger battles without crashes, and support for hug mods. On top of it, the input lag is reduced quite noticeably, which will enhance the overall online experience for everyone, especially in direct control. So that's actually quite good. So you know how in Men of War or Call to Arms even, when there's always that one person who has got really bad internet, and then you go into the game and then it affects everyone, and if that person crashes, the game just stops, or the host has to kick out the person. But what Call to Arms is actually, Call to Arms have done this. I think Men of War, I don't know if Men of War do this, but I think Men of War should do this. But Call to Arms, now that you can, this is I think mostly for multiplayer, yeah, because it is multiplayer now in 64-bit, which means you can enjoy better graphics, longer and bigger battles without crashes. So let's say you've got a big group of your friends and you go against each other, and you've got that one guy who's got really bad internet. Now that one bad player who has crappy internet will be able to enjoy the game longer, same as you guys. So that's good, and it will also be especially in direct control. So when you're in first person, I presume that means it won't lag as much. You know, you won't crash because somebody is trying to go into first person, and it between going third person or first person, it kind of lags, and that affects the whole person. So especially in direct control, I like what they've done here. I presume that means kind of going into first person and going on about that. Okay, last thing of the update is new landscape and rendering methods. We did several things to enhance the visual experience for further as well as existing maps. I'll just like that whole thing there. We added new altitude has to simulate fog in lower regions of the map. Furthermore, we added the ability to disable the border fog, as well as support the 3D background landscapes for long distances views. Our latest improvement is an enhanced lighting of the landscapes, which helps us a lot to render natural cliffs and hills. The feature adds a lot of detail to existing maps and make them look more natural. It also helps to I can't even say that word. Say that word right there. To say it together. Let's say it together. To distinguish. There we go. Between slopes. On top of that, we improved our work style for feature maps. They will have much more natural landscapes that are more fun to play and simply look better. Okay, so with this, I like what they're doing. So they're basically making different maps better. I presume that's for multiplayer maps too. I hope it is, because I hope it's not just for single players maps. So I like what they're doing with the different rendering and landscape. So maybe on maps there's one really hilly map, and they're maybe going to downscale it, and especially with the fog area, as well as support for 3D background landscapes for no longer distance views. Our latest improvements is enhanced lighting of the landscape, which helps us a lot to render natural cliffs and hills. So I like all this rendering that's going on in methods, because it'll help. I presume it'll also help you in the battlefield itself when you go into first person, or when you play against each other 1v1 in multiplayer, or even in single player. It should hopefully help you through the battle, as well through all of this. So I like, because you can see it now, you can see before and after, so you can see a big difference in this hill here, and then you got kind of nice shadowing. You've got, you can see a lot of difference between the first picture and the second picture. So good work there for Call to Arms for doing that. So more good news, which is we've got the new more good news, which is down here. The new two factions are progressing very well and will mostly be likely available in the beta for Season Pass owners within 2 months. So I will be moving on from that. I will be. Lots of you have been asking, Zero, when will you get the Season Pass to and show us the new two factions, which I did on a video on, which I'll leave in the video description down below, which is a Russian faction and the German faction. So guys, just to make it clear that I will be getting the season Pass, but it'll have to be I'll have to wait till I get paid unfortunately. So so you need to wait until then. But don't worry, guys. I will get the season pass, and I will show you guys the two factions, Germany and Russia. I might make a video where I'll play by myself, and I'll just show the factions off one, maybe Germany one day and Russia the other day. So yes, I will definitely be getting and showing you guys the two new factions that are out. So don't worry, I will definitely show you guys, but it won't be till maybe early December time because of how my payment's going, and it is quite expensive, because I might wait for maybe a Christmas sale or when there is a sale on. So don't worry, guys, but I will definitely show you. So moving on from that, now as always, towards the end, we are coming to the end towards of the review. Now my reaction, I always do, what do I think of the update? Do I think it's bad? Do I think it's good? Do I think it could be better for the game? I would say overall it's good. I like how they've put a whole information here that tells you about how the new armor system's going to work, and it's more realistic, which I very like, and I do like the way that Cult Arms have just changed everything, especially it's going to be better for the autocannon. So good on there. So the direct control power bar, which I really like, which was most surprising to me in a good way, because it puts it better for you and the enemy player that is playing, so the other player doesn't get the advantage as well. So I did not expect this at all, and I'm really glad this got put in, because it's really annoying for me to go between first person, between third person, because it just gets very laggy between first person and third person. So I really like how Call to Arms put that there. Fortifications, I'm glad they did this as well, because the engineers don't actually have a lot to do except from maybe build a few fortifications that you can the only certain areas you can build fortifications on, and you can only really repair vehicles, and that's maybe about it. So I'm really glad that Call to Arms are thinking about individual units on, such as the engineers, and maybe they'll concentrate on other individual units which will hopefully be more in the future. So I'm really glad that the engineers are actually getting some action in the game as well. The new netcode, as always, I feel like this is always good for the community. The Call to Arms are thinking outside the box with this, as they've done with the whole review, but especially with this part, because now people with crappy internet can now play with people with such as good internet, and that means there won't be a whole fight saying you should kicked out and you should get kicked out of the game and let other people in, and it's not fair to that person who got kicked out and they feel all alone. So I'm really glad that Call to Arms did this, so everybody can have fun and everybody can play longer battles in multiplayer, and for longer periods of time and multiplayer as well. So I'm really happy about that. So the new landscaping and new landscape rendering method is really good as well, because it makes each map individual in their own way. And what I mean by that is that maybe there's one map that's really crap, maybe like this sand one here, that people think that the rendering's rubbish, that it's not really fair, that maybe you're doing a 1v1 and one side is very hilly and it's not fair, and it could help your enemy. So I'm really glad Call to Arms are helping or making the landscapes a lot better and a lot more detailed. So I'm going to leave it there for this review, but I hope you guys did enjoy. If you do want more of Call to Arms, then please do let me know, because your feedback is always recommended. What do you think of the update? Do you think it's good? Do you think it could be improved on? Please let me know in the comments down below, and of course I will always reply to your guys' comment. And there's one guy I would like to shout out. He did comment in my recent video. I forgot his name though. I need to write it down, but I will. It was a new subscriber. He said he was a new subscriber, and he put something on the Call to Arms, and I've been chatting him to a wee bit. So if you know who you are, then I am really sorry, but I will mention it in the next video. But I forgot to write your name down. So next next time I will write your name down and you will get a shout out. And that's for anyone who does subscribe. You will get a shout out. But if I forget, it'll always be in the next video because my memory is just terrible. Anyway guys, I would like to, this will be it for this review. I'd like to thank you so much for watching and all your support, and make sure you subscribe, hit that bell button so you know that the next time a video or an update comes out for Call to Arms or any video that comes out. So make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell, comment down below, share the video as well if you feel like maybe your friends kind of like news on up-to-date games such as Call to Arms or any other games, then this is a place for you. Anyway, I'd like to thank you so much for watching guys, and I will see you in the next video. See you later and goodbye.